Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Dundonnell in the Highlands, which is of course home to Teallach Ale Company, and this is only my second review from these guys in fact, because they can be a little bit of a bugger to find. But for this one we are having a taste of their Beallach, and this one comes in at 3.8%. It's a golden ale and it should be quite nice. I always say if you try a brewery's beer, it's always good to try one of the darker beers and then one of the lighter beers, and that kind of gives you the idea of both ends of the spectrum of their brewing. So definitely looking forward to this one, and I hope you guys enjoy the review as well. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Teallach before. No doubt I'll be able to add some more in the near future at some point. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for my Scottish beer reviews. Do check out the whiskey and sake reviews as well, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and your support and your input into the channel is always hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Teallach then. So Teallach was founded back in 2001 by husband and wife David and Wilma Orr on their croft at Little Loch Broom near Dundonnell in the Highlands. It's actually just a little bit to the south of Ullapool, but I have seen actually the address of this brewery written as being in Garve, another town. But at this time the talk amongst crofters was about diversification of their business, so David and Wilma decided to move their farm away from cows, sheep and potatoes to actually build a brewery, and they started out with a 5 BBL kit and they've since upgraded to a 16 BBL kit. They've actually built a new building as well, but over the last few years they've continued to grow steadily, and as I say, in 2015 they added more floor space and capacity to the brewery, and the brewery actually takes its name from a local mountain range which is distinctive for its 10 peaks, and that's what this kind of symbol on the label actually shows you. And the name of this range, if you like, Teallach, literally translates into English as being the forge, and it's meant to be quite picturesque actually. If you go on the brewery's website or their Facebook page, which I'll put in the description below, there you'll see this really nice kind of picturesque thing. Of course, if you come to Scotland, the west coast, the Highlands and Speyside, you know, that's really the place that you do want to go and visit, the Western Isles and stuff like that. We're quite lucky, we've got a very picturesque company, and this is one of the little breweries that you're going to find up there. So yeah, that's enough about the brewery. Just to tell you a little bit about their other beers, so there's the Teallach Ale, the Crofter's Pale, the Foire, Sullivan, the Benderg, the Brewhouse, the Kildonan, Beallach, which is this guy here, obviously the Golden Ale, the Hector, which is the stout that you saw me review before, and they also have the Chenaval Gold as well, which is meant to be a really quite nice beer actually. But as I mentioned to you, these beers can be a little bit difficult to get, so if you ever see any of the Teallach bottles, I do recommend that you buy them up. You will see them fairly often on cask. You will find these beers on cask fairly regularly in some of the Wetherspoons pubs that you'll find around Scotland, but in terms of bottles they can be a little bit difficult to find, so buy them up when you can. But anyway, that's enough just now. We'll get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. There you can see there's the label art on this one. This of course is the Teallach symbol up here. You can see it a little bit better on the back. The yellow colour of course is one of the ones that plays havoc a little bit with the camera, but as I said to you, this guy is a 3.8% golden ale. It says a very light hoppy session ale with clean refreshing character, and it's best before the 28th of February 2017, so you will be seeing this beer before it goes out of date. But yeah, it's got an email address and a phone number and things like that on it as well. But yeah, it should be really quite nice. It says on the side here, as I was saying, it's by Garve, so Dundonnell by Garve, Rossshire, which is on the western side of the Highlands. So yeah, it looks really nice, this beer. We'll get it out and into the glass then. Always enjoy reviewing beers from different places of course. Yeah, nice smoky opening then. So out and into the glass, and I tell you, you can smell some of the nice kind of grassy hops and some of the lighter sort of biscuity malts coming off this beer. That's just without paying too much attention to the aroma of course. But look at that, that's crystal clear actually. I actually think I've seen this beer on the cask. I think this might have been one of the ones that I tried a long time ago, and that was when I discovered this brewery and then found out that you just couldn't get the bottles. But I've been lucky to find them over the last little while. But as you can see, look at that, that is crystal clear. It's sort of a pale golden straw, you know, it does look just kind of like a normal lager beer or something. So if I just put my fingers behind that there, you can see it's a nice pale, just crystal clear golden straw colour. There's a solid finger of a frothy white head on this one. There's quite a bit of carbonation visible on that, a lot of little bubbles just heading up towards the bottom of the head there, but it looks really quite nice, this beer. Really lovely looking one, of course. So yeah, let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. It smells quite nice actually. It's quite malty, to be honest with you. Yeah, no, especially when you sugar it up, you start to get more of the malty character out of this beer. It's probably Scottish malts they've put in this one actually. It's quite distinctive. So with this one, you're getting a sort of bready malt base there. You can smell some of the kind of pale malts, the sort of white bready character. But on top of that, there's a lot of biscuity character. It's that almost digestive biscuit, kind of grainy thing that's going on in this one. There's not really a richer caramel aspect to it, but it's definitely more of a kind of sweet biscuity note. And when you sugar the beer up, you start to get more of the hoppy side of things going on as well. So you've got a little bit of a kind of, there's a slightly earthy character coming out of this beer. You can smell that. It does smell like there's English hops used in this beer a little bit. Maybe German noble hops could be another option. Does it actually smells maybe more like the German hops than the English ones? It doesn't quite have the same earthy character that the English ones do. I might be wrong right enough, I'm just guessing. But you can smell a little bit of earthiness in there. It's actually, as I say, it's got very much that kind of German noble character. It is a slightly lighter earthiness than you would expect from the English hops maybe. But there's some nice floral character to the beer. A little bit of grassiness, and you have got just that little bit of almost lemony citrus coming out of the beer as well. Maybe a little bit of a sort of appley or peary ester coming out as well. It's just nice, you know. The thing with a golden ale or a blonde ale, it's not going to be too complex in the aroma. It's just going to be a light kind of sort of dash of hops and a little bit of malty character, you know, biscuit malts and kind of grassy floral hops. That's kind of what you expect from this beer style. It's not going to be complex like a stout or a Scotch ale or anything like that. So it's quite a simple aroma, this one, as you'd expect, but we'll give this beer a try now and see how we get on. So this one is the Beallach na Ba from Teallach Ale Company up near Ullapool in the Highlands. Slàinte. It's actually a really, really drinkable beer, that. Very, very light. And I would say with this one, in the actual, you know, in the front of the taste, or in the front of the flavour, it's actually very, very light. You get more flavour out of the aftertaste in this one. It's one that feels very, very wet. And initially it doesn't have so much flavour to it, but then when it starts to leave the aftertaste, that's when you get the most out of this beer. It's quite interesting that way, actually. As I always say though, sugar the beer around your palate and let the whole mouth adjust to the beer before you get stuck into it, or before you start analysing the flavour too much. But I would definitely stick with that statement. It does feel very wet and and really just a kind of easy drinking thing at the start, but then you do get quite a bit of flavour out of this one in the aftertaste. So yeah, with the malt base on this one, it is kind of as you'd expect. There's a sort of pale bready character, or just maybe a pale malt, not even really that much bready character, if I'm honest. It's just a pale malt character, goes right across the middle of your tongue, and then as the flavour progresses, there's actually a good bit of a toasted, kind of grainy element coming to the beer. It's actually got a good bit of almost malty bitterness sitting in the middle of your tongue, and that's quite interesting. But as you kind of progress through into the aftertaste, you get a wee bit more of a sort of digestive, biscuity kind of grainy character. You get that almost kind of syrupy, slightly sort of corny syrupy flavour that you get from digestive biscuits. It does taste like that, but that kind of toasted graininess in the beer, it really does just linger on the palate there. It's quite nice. Yeah, it's just quite interesting that how a lot of the flavour from this beer comes from the aftertaste. So just be aware of that if you do try this beer. The hoppy side of things is exactly as you'd expect. So in the back corners of the palate, it's got a good little bit of earthiness in there, and as you come further forward, you can feel the floral character, and it actually does have a fair bit of hoppy bitterness to it. Actually, around the front curve of the palate, it's got a little bit of lighter grassy character as well, and then just behind that front curve, the palate, that's where of course where you get the little kind of oily bubble that gives you the fruity esters. And it's, you know, it's a kind of straight up, it's that sort of typical kind of slightly citric character that you expect from a kind of grassy and floral hop. That's what's coming out of this one. Yeah, you know, it's quite a straight up beer, this. It's kind of, you can see what they're going for. It's just meant to be a kind of nice, light, golden, drinkable session ale. Kind of an alternative to lagers, to be honest, this one. And it does it quite well. It's got a lot more flavour than you'd normally expect from the kind of standard adjunct lager or something like that. That's exactly what this beer is meant to replace. And like I say, it's interesting in the fact that a lot of the flavour initially, it doesn't seem to have that much flavour to it, but then as it kind of sits on your palate, that's when you get more and more of the flavour coming out of it. As I say, you get that kind of grainy maltiness to the beer. Then there is actually a good bit of hoppy bitterness to it as well. So overall, in terms of a kind of session beer, a kind of light session beer as an alternative to lagers, it certainly works in that regard. And as I say, I think that's probably what they're going for. In terms of the mouthfeel, this is definitely a light-bodied beer. It's one of the lightest kind of craft beers I've come across that I can think of, actually. A very, very light, easy drinking beer, this one. The carbonation on this one is quite crisp, I would definitely say that about it. It's quite a wet mouth feel to this one rather than an oily mouth feel. As I said, the malt base does have a wee bit of sweetness to it, but overall to me it comes across as quite toasted, and there's quite a bit of grainy, almost spicy grainy character coming out of this one actually. The hops do have a little bit of bitterness, they smooth out, pardon me, as the flavour goes on. And there's a little bit, very slight fruity juicy character there, but the sort of lemony citrus and the kind of apple peary esters that you can pick out of this beer, they are quite minimal, if you like. So it's mainly a kind of grassy, floral and very slightly earthy hop, and that toasty grainy character that comes out of this beer, and it comes out mainly in the aftertaste. So I mean, to kind of rate this beer overall, it's definitely for those of you who are into the kind of more old school, I guess you would say, real ale type beers that you're going to get in Scotland and England. This one isn't the kind of more the sort of American type of golden ale or something like that. This one is definitely more fitting into that kind of old school ale category. So if that's what you're into, then you definitely should give this one a go and see how you get on. And in terms of a replacement for lager beers, this one is pretty good. And I do think that this is the one that I tried on tap at Witherspoons, and it actually came across quite nicely in the cask ale. I think maybe this is one, it's fair to say that it kind of benefits a little bit from just a slightly thicker mouthfeel. If this is the one I'm thinking of, I do remember it being just a little bit sweeter, just having a little bit more of that kind of biscuity note to it when it's on cask. So if you see it on cask, do have a go of it, and let me know what you think of that in the comment section below actually. But another really quite nice beer from Teallach Ale Company, definitely for fans of real ales rather than the kind of big hoppy blasty American ales and stuff like this. But another good effort from these guys, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again if it's on offer. So yeah, another beer from Teallach Ale Company, the Beallach, a nice golden ale, definitely for the fans of real ale beer. So as always, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual stuff. Do check out my social media. If you have tried this beer yourself, do let me know your own thoughts on it in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the video. It's always cool, of course, to review these smaller Scottish breweries when I'm home, so do make sure you try some of the Teallach ales if you get the chance. If you see them in bottle, buy them up, but they should be a bit more widely available in cask, in Witherspoons pubs and things like that. So yeah, the Beallach from Teallach Ale Company up near Ullapool in Scotland. Slàinte just now, and I will catch you very soon, and I'm sure we'll return to Teallach in the fairly near future. Cheers.